Straight ahead on 12 News, Brooklyn Park says no thanks to a proposed thrift store along Highway 610. Then a summit in Brooklyn Center focusing on a health care shortage.
In Minnesota, it's an issue all over the state.
How can companies find more in-home and elderly health care workers? But first, an uptick in burglaries.
Suspect come up, pull the door, and if it's open, then they'll look for the garage door opener.
And how homeowners are making it easy. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. They are calling it a crime of opportunity. Maple Grove Police and some other surrounding departments are seeing an increase in home burglaries.
Reporter Sonia Goen shows us the unsuspecting way burglars are getting into homes.
My neighbor 2 houses down left her garage door opener in an unlocked car, and they got into her garage and took a computer. The owner got up because of the noise, so they took off.
Some homeowners are on edge after learning about the break-ins.
So that's a little scary to me. That's a little close.
Most of the home burglaries are happening in neighborhoods along County Road 30 in Maple Grove.
Over the last 13 days, we've had 7 burglaries that have occurred to occupied residences.
Police say they're noticing a distinct pattern. They say the burglars are looking for unlocked doors. Once they get in, they find the garage door opener. And they gain access to the home.
We've got a lot of people around here that are not willing to tolerate that sort of thing.
What's also disturbing is that the robbers are breaking in while residents are at home.
So this is a serious deal. I mean, there's kids and families that are sleeping while these are occurring.
And folks are making it easy for the crooks to get in.
But yeah, it's just in my car, which is unlocked, and it's right here.
Emily Betloch lives around the corner from where one of the break-ins occurred. She says she's not taking any more chances. From now on, she's taking her garage door opener inside.
That really creeps me out and kind of makes me a little upset. Now I have to just really keep everything safe and locked up.
Police say the thieves are going after things they can snatch up quickly, like small electronics and cash.
We ought to stay out of here. Well, it's like a clean street here. That's all that's good. It's been nice.
If you can't feel comfortable in your home, where else you going to go?
Meanwhile, police are warning people to be extra vigilant and to lock their doors.
We just don't want this to end badly. That's why we just want our residents to make sure they're taking that extra precautions to make sure that them and their families are protected.
In Maple Grove, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Police tell us the same crimes are also occurring in New Hope. There are no suspects in custody at this time. If you have any information, you're urged to call police.
Brooklyn Park Police say they were hunting for a suspect after hearing shots fired early Tuesday morning. They were investigating a call of shots fired in the 5800 block of 73rd Avenue when officers heard additional shots being fired. Police say the intended target of those gunshots is unknown. The SWAT team and a police helicopter were called in and searched an apartment complex, but they did not locate a suspect. The investigation is continuing, and if you have any information, you are asked to call Brooklyn Park Police.
A misfiring handgun may have saved the life of a burglary victim. 21-year-old Nathaniel Reynolds of Fridley faces charges of attempted murder, armed robbery, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. According to the criminal complaint, he was one of 3 people discovered by the victim rummaging through his garage on 65th Avenue in Brooklyn Park. Police say Reynolds held a gun to the victim's temple. The criminal complaint says the victim then heard a click from the gun, but the gun did not fire. It says Reynolds then re-racked the gun and tried to shoot the victim 2 more times, but the gun still did not fire. Officials found a loaded .38 caliber handgun nearby. Reynolds' bail is set at $500,000. In the next several years, Minnesota will need to hire 50,000 to 60,000 more direct care workers.
But that won't be easy, which is why that topic was addressed today at the Earl Brown Center in Brooklyn Center. Eric Nelson joined us now with more on that. Eric?
Yeah, Alex and Mike, this was a caregiving summit that focused on the shortage of workers who deal with seniors and the disabled. A gamut of people showed up, including advocates, providers, family members, consumers, and government employees. Their goal was to find a way to attract more caregivers.
There is a growing shortage of all direct care workers in all settings.
Not many workers are gravitating to the caregiving business these days.
We need to make caregiving a more sought after profession, a more sought after a job.
At today's summit in Brooklyn Center, better benefits, compensation, and education were some of the ideas being floated around to lure in more caregivers.
We see the demographic surge that's been growing for the last several years, and we need to move faster to identify new sources of workers.
Yes, aging demographics are a key reason for this caregiver shortage.
As part of the growing economy, the supply is not keeping pace with the demand. We have more older adults aging every day in Minnesota as well as the country.
Meanwhile, at Home Instead Senior Care in Maple Grove, the caregiver shortage is real.
The need for caregivers on a professional basis working for a company like ours is nearing critical stage.
Home Instead caregivers are paid between $11 and $15 an hour, but only 10% of those who apply are hired because there is a small pool of qualified applicants.
We need dependable people, and we truly need our people with the heart of a caregiver. That person that we know is going to be there for our clients.
Now, another qualification that most caregivers need is reliable transportation. Today's event was sponsored by almost 30 Minnesota organizations. Mike?
All right, thanks, Eric. Brooklyn Park City officials are not embracing a proposal to build a Goodwill retail store along Highway 610. Opus Development Company proposed a 20,000 square foot retail building between 96th Avenue and Highway 610 for Goodwill. It would include 40 to 50 jobs. But local residents say that's not the right place for a Goodwill store. Several said the city should look for something different.
That section where the Goodwill is going was supposed to be our Arbor Lakes. By putting a Goodwill there, you are throwing that away.
It's not that I'm opposed to Goodwill. They bring in good stuff, they help the community, but we have one in Champlin, and it's not that far away. I like the idea of having like a hotel or stores that are nearby to help bring in this more community.
We want to make sure that we can keep property values high, that we can keep neighborhood values, and that we can make it and keep it a good place to live.
Well, several city council members agreed, saying Goodwill does provide a valuable service, but they said they have one chance to get it right on a key piece of property. They want to hold out for something with higher value along Highway 610. The proposal was tabled to give staff a chance to review the plan. Plans for another building across Highway 610 were approved. A two-story medical office building next door to the new Prairie Care Hospital got the council's okay. Prairie Care is planning to use the entire second floor for school-age day counseling and learning programs. Other tenants in the 40,000 square foot building may include doctors, dentists, and other medical-related services.
The local Liberian community is celebrating their country's 169th Independence Day, and they are inviting the public to join the festivities. An interfaith prayer service will be held tonight. That's Tuesday evening in Brooklyn Park, outside the offices of the Organization of Liberians in Minnesota. All religions are welcome.
We are a prayerful nation. So with everything that we do in Liberia, it begins with prayer. And because you remember we had Ebola and we had the Civil War and we did survive all those things, we have to give God the praise for his mercy that he has shown on us. So having this interfaith prayer is so necessary for our nation and our community.
Events this weekend include a Liberian Independence Day parade on Saturday morning at Humboldt Square in Brooklyn Center. Coming up, with restrictive rules, how has tobacco marketing changed?
And later in sports, 3 local baseball teams are headed to the State American Legion Tournament.
But first, it is your AccuWeather forecast. We'll be right back. It is no secret tobacco is bad for your health, yet despite marketing restrictions put on tobacco companies, experts say their marketing budgets continue to grow.
In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland looks at how tobacco companies market their products and the impact that has on consumers.
I work around all the owners and all that.
Behind the counter of nearly every gas station, you'll find shelves of tobacco products in brightly colored packaging. These products aren't advertised on TV or radio. but that doesn't stop people from buying them.
The tobacco companies spend billions of dollars every year marketing.
Betsy Brock is a researcher for the Association of Non-Smokers Minnesota.
In our efforts to reduce the harm of tobacco, one thing we do is we like to track tobacco industry marketing and trends to see to try to stay ahead of the tobacco industry.
With the marketing restrictions in place, tobacco companies rely on direct marketing to consumers in the form of mail and emails.
Well, we found that they send a lot of coupons, which is interesting because we know that higher tobacco prices reduce tobacco consumption, and so by sending coupons, they're able to help consumers keep using tobacco at a cheaper rate.
On average, she says each mailing had about $4 worth of coupons, but that's not the only thing they send to people.
We're looking at items that the tobacco company sends to people on their mailing lists.
Brock compiled a slew of gifts that tobacco companies send to consumers, which include everything from slippers and electronics to barbecue sauce and apparel.
So the idea is to really build relationships with consumers and build customer loyalty. So there's this idea that it's cheaper to keep an existing customer than find a new one.
Overall, Minnesota's smoking rate is at around 14%. So while the numbers have dropped, she wants to make sure people are aware of the effectiveness of direct marketing. The overall goal is for policymakers to somehow restrict it.
Because we know tobacco is still the #1 cause of death, still the #1 cause of disease in our country. So we have a long ways to go, but we've also come a long ways.
For Health Check, Dwayne Cleveland, 12 News.
Well, still ahead, it's a big cast, but Oklahoma is a big play. We'll take a look.
But first, a local activities director will be moving back to the field and classroom at a different school. John Jacobson has that and much more coming up next in sports.
Maple Grove High School is losing an activities director, and Wayzata is gaining an assistant football coach and health teacher. Lambert Brown is leaving his post at Maple Grove to join the staff at Wayzata. Brown was activities director at Maple Grove for the past 2 years. He's coached football at both Fridley and Chaska high schools. At Wayzata, he'll be the assistant head coach to Brad Anderson, with a plan for Brown to take over as the head coach at Wayzata whenever Anderson retires. No timetable has been set yet on that, though, and high school football practice begins on August 15th. Wayzata is the defending state American Legion baseball champion. They made a bid for a sub-state title as they faced Hopkins in the sub-state 4 championship. Hopkins opens the scoring in this game. John Cook's liner to right center, in for a hit to score Alex Bowers in the bottom of the first inning. It had another run to go up 2-0. Wayzata pitcher Tom Scoro shuts the door from there, getting a strikeout. He pitches into the 8th inning of this game. Hopkins pitcher Jeffrey Cooper is strong too. He'll get a strikeout and then a pickoff at first base. Eric Stolt caught a little too far off the bag. Big double play for the Flyers to keep it 2-0. In the 3rd inning, Wayzata shows off the defense, turning a slick 4-6-3 double play to end a Hopkins threat. And it's still 2-0. 5th inning, Hopkins escapes a jam. Jake Marsh with a soft liner right at the third baseman, Morgan Holmes. The Flyers maintain the lead. 7th inning, Wayzata ties it up on a pair of bases loaded walks. And they're fired up here. Cam Keenan scores, and the game is tied up at 2. These are 9-inning games, and Wayzata takes the lead for the first time in the 8th. Keenan with a fly ball that's easily deep enough to score Jarrett Brio. Wayzata rallies to beat Hopkins 4-2, and they're headed back to the State Legion tournament. Maple Grove faced Elk River in the Section 8 4A baseball championship during the high school season. Many of those same players met up in Legion play for the Sub-State 11 title, with Maple Grove needing a win, winning to win twice rather, for the title. Maple Grove's Caleb Gates squeezed bunt there, very close play at the plate. Jaden Roll ruled safe. Elk River does get another runner in a rundown play, and it's Maple Grove 1-0 ahead in the top of the 2nd. And then in the 3rd inning, Brett Schultz grounding that hit down the third baseline. Isaac Collins scores for a 2-0 Maple Grove lead, and they aren't done. 2 batters later, Roll singles to left field to bring Schultz home for a 3-0 lead. They'd add one more, and they lead 4-0. Up 4-1. Maple Grove's Bubba Horton tags one a long way to the fence in left center field. Collins scores easily on Horton's double, and Maple Grove's in command. It's a 5-1 game in the 4th inning. Maple Grove adds 4 more runs in the 8th. Gates with a well-placed roller through the left side that dies in the grass in short left. Drew Lewis scores. And it seems like this one is over, but not so fast. Elk River rallies against Maple Grove's bullpen. Connor Hogan crushing it to deep left. The bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th. Elk River scores 6 in the 9th, but Maple Grove does hold on to win 10-7. And Maple Grove rolls to a 10-0 win in 7 innings in Game 2, and they advance on to the state tournament. After a Friday night loss to Coon Rapids in the Sub-State 9 tourney, the Champlin Park Legion team came back through the losers bracket over the weekend and got another shot at Coon Rapids. Champlin Park beat Coon Rapids for the 2nd time in as many days, winning 9-3. Champlin, Wayzata, and Maple Grove all advanced to the state tournament, which begins Friday in Delano, Loretto, and Maple Lake. We'll have more on these teams later this week on 12 News. And that's a look at sports today.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Local students are taking on a big production this summer.
Oklahoma, it seems, is more than just okay. We'll take a look in just a moment. Oh, they sound good. They're in the final week of dress rehearsals for Blue Water Theater Company's production of Oklahoma at Wayzata Middle School in Plymouth. The production has a cast of more than 50. It's made up of area middle school and high school students.
Our take on an old classic, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's the good old rollicking American 1940s Rodgers and Hammerstein, so it's the good old stuff with some new faces, and I think it's worth reviving these old pieces and taking a look at them and remembering why everyone likes them so much.
Oklahoma begins Thursday at Wayzata Middle School in Plymouth and runs through Saturday. Showtimes are 7 p.m. on the weekdays and 4 p.m. on Saturday. And it sounds like they've got the music down really well.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. That'll do it. That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We will see you back here again on Wednesday starting at 4 o'clock.